Hello everyone. Welcome back. You work hard. You show up every day. You do what you were told to do. Get a good education, find a stable job, pay your bills on time. And yet at the end of every month, the money is gone. Not because you spent it on something big, just gone. On small things, on daily life, on surviving. Maybe you have felt this. You check your account on the last week of the month and the number is smaller than you expected. Again. You tell yourself it will be different next month. You will be more careful. You will cut back somewhere. But next month arrives and the same thing happens. The money comes in and the money goes out. You are running in place, moving fast, but going nowhere. This is a graded lesson for English learners who want more than words. Today's lesson is about money, not how to get rich fast, not a magic trick. This is the real blueprint. The one that nobody gives you, the one that every self-made millionaire quietly followed to go from nothing to financial freedom. By the end of this lesson, you will understand exactly why most people stay broke their whole lives. And you will know the precise moves, the exact mindset shifts, the specific rules that change everything. This is not motivation. This is a map. If you are watching this right now, something inside you is asking for more security, more freedom, more control over your own life. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is the beginning of something real. Subscribe right now if you are serious about changing the way you think about money. Hit that button before we go further. Today I will give you 7 rules, 7 things that wealthy people know and that most people never learn. Not because the information is hidden, but because nobody ever thought to teach it to you. Your school didn't. Your parents probably couldn't. Your job certainly won't. But today, someone will. Wealth is not luck. Wealth is a decision. Let's begin. Rule 1. The lie you were told about money. Here's the truth. From the time you were a child, you were given a plan. Study hard, get good grades, find a safe job with a good salary, work for 40 years, then retire. That was the plan. That was the promise, and most people followed it. Exactly. They studied hard, they got the job. They got the paycheck. And still, it was never enough. Not because they were lazy, not because they were stupid, but because the plan was never designed to make them wealthy. It was designed to make them useful. Useful to someone else's business. Useful to someone else's dream. Think about what that really means. You were handed a life script before you were old enough to question it. Go to school. Study the right subjects. Pass the right exams. Get hired. Then spend the next 4 decades trading your time for a salary. And if you do all of that correctly, if you follow every instruction, you might retire comfortably. Or you might not. Because the plan never came with a guarantee. Here is what nobody told you. There are 2 ways to relate to money. The first way is to work for money. You trade your time, your energy, your years for a fixed amount every month. When you stop working, the money stops. This is how most people live their entire lives. The second way is to make money work for you. You build systems. You own assets. You create income that comes in whether you are working or sleeping or sitting on a beach somewhere. A poor mindset works for money. A wealthy mindset makes money work. Most people never even know the second option exists because school only taught them the first one. Think about Warren Buffett, one of the richest men who ever lived. He started investing at 11 years old, not with a lot of money, with a little money and a big idea. For decades, he didn't look rich. He drove the same modest car. He lived in the same house he bought in 1958. He wore simple clothes. He didn't act like a wealthy man. because he was too busy becoming one. While other people spent their money on things that looked like success, Buffett was quietly building systems that made money for him around the clock. He understood something early that most people learn too late or never at all. Your job is not your financial plan. Your job is just the starting point. The lie you were told is that a good salary equals financial security. It doesn't. A salary gives you income, but income alone will never make you wealthy. Not if you don't know what to do with it. You can earn $50,000 a year and retire with nothing. You can earn $20,000 a year and retire with everything. The difference is not the number on your paycheck. The difference is what you know and what you do. That is Rule 1. The plan they gave you was never enough, and now you know. Rule 2, the first wall. No one taught you this. Now think about this. You spent 12 years in school, maybe 16, maybe more. You learned mathematics, you learned history. You learned how the human body works, how the planets move, how to write an essay in the correct format. But did anyone ever sit you down and explain how a bank account grows? Did anyone teach you what an investment is? Did anyone show you the difference between spending and building? Not how to save, not how to invest, not how to build. That wall, that gap in your education, is not an accident. The school system was built during the industrial age. It was designed with one purpose: to produce workers. Reliable, skilled, obedient workers who would show up on time, follow instructions, and keep the economy moving. It was a good system for the people who owned the factories. School prepares you to work for money. Nobody teaches you to make money work for you. And so generation after generation, smart and hardworking people walked out of school knowing a great deal about many things and almost nothing about the one thing that would determine the quality of the rest of their lives: money. The school system trains employees. It was never designed to create millionaires. This is not about blaming your teachers. Most of them were never taught this either. This is about recognizing the wall that exists in front of you. Because you cannot climb over a wall you don't know is there. Think about the people who raised you. Your parents, your grandparents, the adults in your life. Most of them were doing their best with what they knew. But what they knew about money was limited. They knew how to earn it. They knew how to survive on it. But building wealth, that was a different conversation. One that nobody ever started. So they passed on what they had, not because they wanted to hold you back, because it was all they knew. And now it is all you know too. Until today. The moment you understand that your financial education is your own responsibility, everything changes. Not someone else's responsibility. Not the government's, not your employer's, yours. This is uncomfortable. It is also completely freeing. Because it means that no matter where you started, no matter what school you went to or didn't go to, no matter what your parents knew or didn't know, you can learn what you need to learn right now. Today, at any age, with any income. The wealthy are not smarter than you. They are not more talented. In most cases, they simply learned things that you were never taught. And once you learn those things, the gap between where you are and where you want to be starts to close. That is what the next 5 rules are about. The wall is real, but walls can be climbed. Rule 3. Pay yourself first. Let me make this simple. Every month, money comes in, and every month, money goes out. Rent, food, phone bill, transportation, electricity, subscriptions you forgot you had. And by the time you have paid everything and everyone, there is almost nothing left. Maybe a little, maybe nothing at all. So you tell yourself, next month I will save what is left over. Next month I will start. Next month never comes. This is the pattern that keeps millions of people financially stuck for their entire lives. Not bad luck, not low income, a pattern. And like all patterns, it can be broken. Here is the rule that changed everything for people who went from broke to financially free. Before you pay your rent, before you pay your bills, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else with your money, you pay yourself first. You take a minimum of 10% of everything you earn and you put it somewhere safe. A separate account, a place you do not touch. And then you live on the rest. Most people pay everyone else first. The wealthy pay themselves first. This sounds simple, and it is. But simple is not the same as easy, because the first time you do this, you will feel it. You will look at what is left and think, this is not enough. How am I supposed to live on this? And the answer is, you will figure it out. Because humans are remarkably good at adapting to what they have. When there is less money available to spend, you find a way. You cut something small here, you skip something unnecessary there. You get creative, and slowly, almost without noticing, you adjust. There was a man named Marcus. He grew up with very little. His father worked in a factory. His mother cleaned houses. By the time Marcus was 25, he had a factory job of his own. The salary was modest, nothing impressive. But Marcus had read one book that changed his thinking. That book said, pay yourself first, no matter how small the amount. So Marcus started. $50 a month. That was it. Not 500, not 1,000. $50 moved to a separate account on the first day of every month before he paid a single bill. Some months it was hard. Some months he looked at that $50 and thought about all the things he needed. But he kept the rule. Every month without fail for 30 years. He never got a big promotion. He never started a company. He never won anything. He just never stopped paying himself first. By the time Marcus was 55 years old, with interest and careful small investments along the way, he had built over $200,000. Not from a high salary, not from luck. From one rule followed consistently for 30 years. If you wait until you have more money, you will never save. If you wait for the right time, it will never come. If you wait for someone to tell you when to start, you will wait forever. The right time is now. The right amount is whatever you can manage, 10% if possible. 5% if that is all you have. The number matters less than the habit. Poor people say, I will save what is left. Wealthy people save first and live on what is left. Wealth is not luck. Wealth is a decision. Start this month, not next month, this one. Rule 4. Know what you own. Hear me on this. There are two kinds of things you can spend your money on. The first kind puts money into your pocket. The second kind takes money out of your pocket. That is it. That is the entire framework. The first kind is called an asset. The second kind is called a liability. An asset is something that works for you. A small investment account that grows over time. A piece of property that brings in rental income. A business that earns money even when you are not there. Assets are quiet. They do not show off. But over time, they build your freedom. A liability is something that costs you. A new car with monthly payments. A luxury phone you replace every year. Designer clothes, expensive watches, the newest electronics. These things feel good to own. They signal to the world that you are doing well. But they do not build your future. They consume it. If it does not make you money while you sleep, think twice before you buy it. Now consider two people, both 28 years old, both earning the same salary, $35,000 a year. The first person gets a raise and immediately buys a new car. Monthly payments, insurance, maintenance. It feels like a reward. It looks like success. Everyone notices. Friends comment on the new car. Family asks about it at dinner. There is a moment of pride, a feeling of arrival, but the car loses value from the first day. Month after month, the payment leaves the account. Insurance, fuel, repairs. 5 years later, the car is worth a fraction of what was paid, and the savings account is still almost empty. The second person gets the same raise and quietly moves $200 a month into a low-cost index fund. Nobody notices. There is nothing to show. No new car in the driveway, no new clothes. Just a number in an account growing slowly and silently. 10 years later, the first person still has a nice car, now almost worthless and very little savings. The second person has built a foundation. Not a fortune yet, but a foundation. Something real. The poor buy things that look like success. The wealthy buy things that create success. This does not mean you can never enjoy your money. It does not mean you must live like a monk and never buy anything beautiful. It means you understand the difference before you spend. It means you ask one simple question before every significant purchase. Is this an asset or a liability? Is this building my future or borrowing from it? Most people never ask that question. They buy on feeling, on comparison, on the need to show others that they are doing well. And there is nothing wrong with wanting good things. But wanting good things without understanding the cost is how people end up working for 40 years and retiring with almost nothing. Robert Kiyosaki wrote about this idea in a book that changed how millions of people think about money. The core message was this: rich people acquire assets. Poor people acquire liabilities and think they are assets. A big house you cannot afford is not a sign of wealth. It is a chain. A car you are still paying off 3 years later is not a reward. It is a recurring cost. Understand what you own. Understand what owns you. If this is making sense to you right now, hit subscribe. There is more coming and you do not want to miss it. Start building your asset column, even small, even slow. The direction matters more than the speed. Rule 5. The power of small and consistent. Stay with me. Most people think that wealth requires a big moment, a big opportunity, a big salary, a big investment that pays off spectacularly. They are waiting for the moment when everything changes all at once, the lucky break, the right connection, the perfect timing. That moment almost never comes. And while they wait for it, the people who are quietly building real wealth are doing something very different, something that looks almost boring from the outside. They are doing small things every single day. Save a little, invest a little, wait a long time. That is the entire secret. There is a concept that Darren Hardy wrote about called the compound effect. The idea is simple. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, produce results that seem impossible when you first look at the numbers. Here is an example. If you invest $100 a month starting at age 25, and that money grows at an average rate of 7% per year by the time you are 65, you will have over $260,000. Not because you made a brilliant move, not because you got lucky, because you did one small thing every single month for 40 years and you never stopped. Now here is the part that most people find difficult. The compound effect is invisible for a long time. In the first few years, you look at your account and the numbers are small. They do not feel exciting. They do not feel like progress. And that is exactly when most people stop. They think this is not working. This is too slow. There must be a better way. There is no better way. Slow and consistent is the better way. Think about a single drop of water falling on a rock. One drop does nothing. 1,000 drops do nothing you can see. But 10,000 drops, 100,000 drops over years and years, and that water cuts through solid stone. Not because any single drop was powerful, because none of them ever stopped. You are the water. Your small, consistent actions are the drops. The wealth you are building is the stone being shaped. Wealth is not built in a day. It is built by what you do every single day. The people who struggle financially are not always the people who earn the least. Often they are people who earned well, but never built the habit of consistency. They saved when they felt motivated and stopped when life got hard. They invested for a few months and then pulled the money out when they needed something. They started strong and finished nowhere. Consistency is not glamorous. It does not make a good story at a dinner party. Nobody brags about moving $50 into a savings account every Tuesday morning. But that Tuesday habit repeated for 20 years changes a life. Wealth is not luck. Wealth is a decision. Decide to be consistent, not perfect, not aggressive, not fast, just consistent. Show up for your finances the way you show up for your job. Every time, without waiting to feel inspired. That is Rule 5. Small and consistent wins every time. Rule 6. The mindset that keeps you broke. Here is what most people miss. When we talk about why people stay broke, the conversation almost always goes to income. I don't earn enough. If I just made more money, everything would be different. Give me a higher salary and I will be fine. But here is what the numbers actually show. Most people who get a raise spend more. Most people who get a bonus spend it within weeks. Most people who win money, inherit money, or receive money unexpectedly are back to their original financial situation within a few years. Because the problem was never the income. The problem was the relationship with money. Your income is not the problem. Your relationship with money is. This is hard to hear. It is much easier to blame the salary, the economy, the cost of living, the government. And yes, those things are real. The system is not perfectly fair. Life is not perfectly fair. But plenty of people have built real wealth starting from very difficult situations. And plenty of people have destroyed real wealth despite earning more than most people ever will. The difference is internal. It is the story you tell yourself about money every single day. Broke people think about what they cannot afford. Wealthy people think about how to afford it. Read that again. It is not about pretending you have money you do not have. It is about the direction your mind moves when it encounters a financial challenge. When a broke mindset hears the price of something important, the first thought is, I can't afford that. Full stop. End of thinking. When a wealthy mindset hears the same price, the first thought is, how can I make this work? Can I save for it? Can I earn extra? Can I find a smarter way? The thinking continues. The door stays open. It is not about earning more. It is not about spending less. It is about thinking differently. This mindset shift does not require money. It does not require a course or a mentor or a special opportunity. It requires only a decision to stop letting the broke voice in your head have the final word. That voice was trained into you by watching adults around you struggle, by absorbing messages that said money is hard, money is scarce, money is for other people. Those messages were not the truth. They were just what the people around you believed. And beliefs, unlike facts, can be changed. Start paying attention to how you talk about money. Not to others, to yourself. The private conversation. When you see something expensive, what do you say inside? When you think about your financial future, is the picture clear or dark? Change the picture. Slowly, deliberately. Replace "I can never afford that" with "how could I build toward that?" Replace "money is always tight" with "I am learning to manage money better every month." Small language changes, repeated daily. Over time, they reshape the way you see your options. And when you see more options, you make better decisions. and better decisions compounded over years build a completely different life. Rule 6 is not a financial strategy. It is the foundation that all the other rules rest on. Get this wrong, and the other rules will not stick. Get this right, and everything becomes possible. Rule 7. The decision that changes everything. We have talked about lies, we have talked about walls, we have talked about habits and assets and mindset, and all of it matters. Every rule in this lesson is real, and every rule works. But none of it works without this. A decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a vague intention to do better someday. A real, clear, committed decision. The kind that changes the way you see yourself. The kind that you make once and then spend the rest of your life honoring. Every self-made millionaire had a moment like this. A moment when they looked at their life honestly and said, not anymore, not this. I am going to do something different. I am going to learn what I need to learn. I am going to change what I need to change. Starting now. Not next year. Not when things calm down. Not when the timing is better. Now. If you are tired of struggling, if you are done with excuses, if you are ready to start, then today is that moment. Right now. This video, this lesson, this exact minute. You do not need to have it all figured out. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need money to begin building the mindset that creates money. You only need to decide that the old way is over and the new way starts today. Most people will watch a video like this, feel something real, feel something shift inside them, and then go back to exactly what they were doing before. Not because they are bad people, not because they don't care, but because deciding is uncomfortable. Deciding means you can no longer say you didn't know. It means you are responsible. It means the next chapter of your financial life is yours to write. That responsibility is heavy. It is also the most powerful thing you will ever hold. Wealth is not luck. Wealth is a decision. Make it today. Write it down if you need to. Tell someone if that helps, but make it real, make it yours. Now let me leave you with the 7 rules one final time. Rule 1. The plan they gave you was never enough. Learn the second way. Rule 2. Your financial education is your responsibility. Start now. Rule 3. Pay yourself first, every month, without exception. Rule 4. Buy assets. Question every liability. Rule 5. Be small and consistent. Let time do the heavy work. Rule 6. Change the story you tell yourself about money. Rule 7. Make the decision and mean it. Which rule hit you the hardest today? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. If this lesson gave you something real, share it with one person who needs to hear it. One person whose life might change because you did. Subscribe if you haven't yet. There is more coming and none of it will waste your time. Wealth is not luck. Wealth is a decision. Keep listening daily and your English will grow with your wealth. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your future.